Men have to take a look at their 2 billion yuan savings every 6 hours, but to their surprise, when they wake up, they find themselves trapped in their villa. The safe that needs to be unlocked by the retina has also been opened, but the bank account key inside has disappeared. At this moment, the color TV in the room automatically turned on, and financial news was playing a news related to him. Position: the junior and junior high school was completely forced. He never made any TikTok, and he is not in the United States, let alone resign from his position with a monthly salary of more than 100 million yuan. He picked up the phone to confirm, but found that his phone had no signal. He, who has a hot temper, has never been subjected to such slander. He picked up a golf club and frantically knocked on the door lock, but the door still couldn't be opened. He looked out through the door lock, but outside was boundless darkness. At this moment, the TV screen changed again, and the young and middle-aged people were very angry. He picked up the remote control and pressed the play button, which played criminal evidence of him manipulating the stock market, bribing high-ranking officials, and seeking huge profits through unfair means for so many years. Even the fact that he had a woman outside was known, and the other person seemed to know his situation very well, which almost broke the defense of the young man who considered himself a genius. His brain is running rapidly, thinking through all the possibilities. Watching his privacy on TV, Xiaoyan was about to lift his golf club when he suddenly found himself appearing on the screen. It turned out that the room had already been monitored by someone. Just then, he heard the rustling sound of the walkie-talkie, searched in the direction of the sound, and finally found Zhong Xiaoyan under the sofa. He was very arrogant and asked the other person who it was, but the mysterious person answered the wrong question, telling him to play a game with Zhong Xiaoyan. For the next 5 days, he will be given a multiple-choice question at 9:30 every day, with only 2 options for each question, and he must make a choice. If there is no answer within 3 minutes, it will be assumed that he has selected both. Xiaoyan doesn't want to play such a childish game with the other party. But before he could finish speaking, today's topic appeared on the TV screen, announcing divorce from his wife or choosing to expose huge tax evasion. Zhong Xiaoyan suspected that his wife was playing tricks because their relationship had recently been in crisis. His wife couldn't stand him, only seeking profit and resorting to any means to cheat him out of money, so she filed for divorce with him yesterday. IMMOS. What? The other party doesn't even care about him. I angrily dropped the walkie-talkie in my middle and young age, but by this time it was already time to answer the questions. Since he didn't make a choice, the mysterious person assumed that he would choose both. Soon, in the news, he announced his strange love with the millionaire women through TikTok. At the same time, the television station also received anonymous reports, reporting substantial evidence of the huge tax evasion of the Chinese New Year. Since the other party can't bear it, then don't blame yourself for not being easy. In the middle and young years, he wanted to pry open the window and escape here. He fixed the traction belt to the treadmill, and then drove the belt to the fastest speed. He had to use the power of the treadmill to remove the wooden board, which shows how great the power of knowledge is. But the moment the wooden board was pulled down, it hit him and it didn't take long for him to finally dismantle it. However, behind the wooden board was a thick cement wall. The young man realized the seriousness of the problem and picked up the walkie-talkie again. No matter who the mastermind behind the scenes was, he was willing to pay double the price, but unexpectedly, it angered the mysterious person. The lights in the room turned red, and then the roof automatically opened the ventilation duct. The temperature quickly soared to 65 degrees, which is also the limit of human saunas. After taking off his clothes, Zhong Xiaoyan instantly switched to air conditioning, causing the temperature to drop sharply to 0 degrees Celsius. At the same time, the outside world had become a mess, with the wealthy pretending to be the focus of public opinion, and his wife also received a mysterious phone call. The next day, when Xiaoyan was frozen like a dead dog, he heard news of his wife's attempted suicide from the news, and the entire incident was shrouded in a mist. The middle and young years completely collapsed because all his efforts over the years were for this family. Looking at the walkie-talkie in his hand, he thought of a way to escape. He secretly hid in the bathroom, modified his walkie-talkie, and actually connected it to the outside world. He was heard by a financial journalist named Tianyu, who reported his family background and claimed to have been kidnapped during his childhood. However, the journalist did not believe it and directly turned off the walkie-talkie. Just as hope was shattered, Zhong Xiaoyan came up with other solutions. He covered the surveillance footage of the room and modified the hair dryer, only to find out that he actually cut open the wooden door. However, when he walked out of the room, he realized that this was not his own villa at all, but rather a space replicated in a 1-to-1 ratio. He discovered a ventilation duct connecting to the outside with the faint light. Soon it was time to answer the questions again. Expose manipulating stock prices, or expose Zhu Nan as a commercial spy. I didn't hesitate this time, but I chose the latter. He and Zhu Nan are classmates in junior high school. They also pursued their wives a few years ago, but still remember him deeply today. Zhu Nan is also an assistant to Tang Wanyuan, vice president of Tingyuan Fund, and at this time, he is using the retina of Zongxionian to seek help to restore it. He told Tang Wanyuan that he needed to wait for a day, despite the work that originally only required a few hours. The next day, the two of them rushed to the small and medium-sized villa in a hurry. However, when Tang Wanyuan opened the vault, he found that it was already empty. Zhu Nan also found Zhong Xiaoyan's passport in his room. When they began to suspect, Tang Wanyuan received a phone call from Mystery Yuan. The other party asked him to turn on the TV. News was reporting that Zhu Nan was a commercial spy. Zhong Xiaoyan revealed that he and Zhu Nan were classmates through TikTok. At the same time, a large number of text messages involving Tang Wanyuan's commercial secrets were also released, which made Tang Wanyuan suspect that Zhu Nan had stolen the bank key, not. The two of them were racing on the highway all the way, but due to the speed being too fast, Zhu Nan collided with Ma Luya. In order to save his life, he handed over the stolen key and promised to help him get his account password. He even dialed the mysterious person's phone, but the other party only promised to help him get it. Wei Siming blamed him for moving something he shouldn't have taken. Under Zhu Nan's bitter plea, the mysterious person asked him to open a video call. The scene of Zhu Nan appeared in front of Zhong Xiaoyan, and the mysterious person asked him to choose whether to remain silent or say his account password. In order to save his old classmate, Zhong Xiaoyan ultimately chose to output the password. However, after obtaining the password, Tang Wanyuan did not intend to save Zhu Nan, but chose to let this traitor disappear forever. In the end, Zhu Nan turned into ashes in the huge explosion. He burned a corner of Zhong Xiaoyan's passport and left it at the scene of the car accident. Looking at the full screen of snowflakes on the screen, Xiaoyan fell silent. He angrily dropped the surveillance footage of the room, glanced at the ventilation vent on the roof, and began to save himself in the middle and small years. He followed the pipeline all the way up, but didn't expect the exit to be firmly locked, but fortunately, he knew he was trapped in a place similar to an air raid shelter. On the other hand, Tang Wanyuan also discovered that the key was fake. Unexpectedly, Mysterious Yuan had already swapped Zhu Nan's bag, and the two were just chess pieces at the mercy of others. However, when the mysterious person entered the account password, the balance of the small and medium-sized account was only 50 cents. The mysterious person who became angry and embarrassed immediately threw him the fourth question, exposing the murder of Zheng Guanwen, the founder of Tingyuan Fund, or revealing the whereabouts of the money in his private account. Zheng Guanwen was a mentor in middle and small years, but in order to successfully rise to power, he teamed up with Tang Wanyuan to forge black materials and frame Zheng Guanwen, ultimately leading to his downfall and suicide by jumping off a building. He chose the former without hesitation in his middle and young years, because he thought of a way to prove that he was himself. He contacted Tian Yu again through the walkie-talkie and told him to go and read today's news immediately, which will report on his framing of Zheng Guanwen. Sure enough, the news of his murder of his mentor was overwhelming, and this time Tian Yu believed that he was just a junior high school student. But when he was about to report to the police, he was stopped because he had become a suspect and could only prove his innocence after going out. In the middle and small years, he was asked to quote prices casually, but Tian Yu said he was not short of money. As a journalist, he wanted to succeed in his career more. He proposed to have Zongxionian undergo an in-depth video interview, and also require 24 hours of follow-up filming to record the transactions. On the other hand, the police found Tang Wanyuan's passport at the scene of the car accident and successfully forged the body into a Chinese New Year. In this way, Wei Siming became the legal heir, and Tang Wanyuan used his child as a threat to unconditionally transfer all his shares to him. At the same time, Tang Wanyuan bribed the forensic doctor and confirmed the fact that the deceased was from a young age. Upon learning of his death, Xiaoyan hurriedly contacted Tianyu and came up with a way to find him as soon as possible. In order to expose his position, he lit all the items in the house. As the smoke in the room grew louder and louder, Tianyu finally found his spot. He used the trailer rope in the car and finally rescued Xiaoyan from danger. He brought Tianyu back home and made an appointment with his wife, but when they met, he was slapped hard first. Xiao Meng advised him to surrender to the police station, but Zhong Xiaoyan did not want to lose his reputation. He needed to find the mastermind behind the scenes and obtain evidence. Only in this way can he prove his innocence. For safety reasons, he took Xiaomeng back to the old house. This was the rental house where the two of them originally lived, and he bought it when he had money. The layout of the room is the same as before, with all the beautiful memories of the two people covered in dust inside. After experiencing so many things, Xiaomeng no longer wants to be separated from him. It turned out that when he chose to commit suicide, he also received a threat from a mysterious person. Only when one of them died can the safety of the other be guaranteed. In order to save her husband, Xiaomeng chose to sacrifice herself. Upon learning this, it is even more important for young people to identify the culprit. He brought Tianyu to the furniture factory, and the people behind the scenes replicated his villa. However, the bed was specially customized by him, so as long as we find who copied the bed, we can find the mysterious person. However, when they found the order, the name of their mentor was prominently written on it. Subsequent affairs. Originally, Tang Wanyuan proposed that as long as he obtained evidence of Zhengguangwen's stock market operation, he could be kicked out. However, his backers were constantly pursuing him, and he was forced to walk up to the rooftop. The last phone call he made was to Zhong Xiaoyan, but he didn't know this at the time, otherwise he would definitely return the money to Zhengguangwen. After all, he just wanted to rise to the top, but now it's too late, so it must be that the mastermind behind the scenes is also pretending to be a junior high school student who has been promoted. I found it through the order address and asked Tianyu to wait in the car, while I got out of the car in the rain to search. He quickly found the room on the address and didn't expect it to be filled with his information. Suddenly, a figure flashed past the door, and Xiaoyan hurriedly chased after him, almost catching the mysterious person several times. Tianyu wanted to drive and block the entrance of the alley, but the mysterious person managed to escape. After returning home, he received another call from the mysterious person, and the two eventually reached an agreement to exchange the funds in their account for all the black materials in the mysterious person's hands in the middle and small years. They agreed to conduct face-to-face transactions at night, but also proposed an additional condition, which is to request the video of Zhu Nan being murdered at that time. My wife was worried about Xiaoyan's safety and asked him why he didn't directly transfer it to the other party. Helpless, Xiaoyan could only say the truth. Originally, Xiao Meng filed for divorce that day. He was worried that the lawyer would intervene and uncover the black money, so he transferred all the money to Zhuang Yi, hoping to clear the money through his channels. But in the current situation, it is unlikely that Zhuang Yi will spit out the money, but as long as Xiao Meng is willing to help him meet two people, there should still be room for maneuver in the matter of money. Subsequently, Wei Siming appeared in front of Tang Wanyuan, stating that Tingyuan Fund was the husband's long-term hard work, so he did not want to give up. Since Tang Wanyuan was for money, Wei Siming proposed to purchase his equity at a high price. The two agreed to settle each share at tomorrow's closing price. Later, he approached Zhuang Yin again and wanted him to acquire Tingyuan Fund. Wei Siming told him that he had acquired all the shares of Tang Wanyuan at tomorrow's closing price, but could sell them to him at today's closing price. Zhuang Yi was indeed a shrewd woman, but Wei Siming did not say much to him. However, when he was about to leave, he was stopped by Zhuang Yi. The news of Tang Wanyuan raising money everywhere to raise the skeleton was quickly discovered by Zhuang Yi. Zhuang Yi knew he would definitely make a big profit tomorrow, but Zhong Xiaoyan reminded his wife that because all he had was black money, he had to trade it in gold. Quickly, a car full of gold was received in the middle and small years, and Tang Wanyuan was working overtime to drive up the stock price. However, the video of him killing Zhu Nan had already fermented, causing the stock price of Tingyuan Fund to jump instantly. Tang Wanyuan was also wanted on suspicion of murder, and Zhong Xiaoyan came to the agreed location to trade with a mysterious person. However, when he received the information, the mysterious person was ambushed by Tang Wanyuan, and then he added a few more sticks. I couldn't believe it when I was young. It turned out that Zhuang Yi had also left some money to install a location on the car. When he found out that he had been scammed, he contacted Tang Wanyuan and promised to share half of it with him as long as he found the gold. Faced with Tang Wanyuan's extreme danger, he could only obediently hand over the car keys. However, Tang Wanyuan did not intend to let him go, but just as he was preparing to take action, he did not expect that Zhong Xiaoyan would report to the police early, and upon hearing the siren, Tang Wanyuan could only hurriedly leave with gold. However, where are there any police officers? All of this was designed by the middle and small years. Everything has settled in dust. The next day, Zhong Xiaoyan held a press conference, and he whitewashed himself on the grounds of illegal detention. But just as he was about to leave, all the lights on the scene suddenly went out, and then his phone received a video. Unexpectedly, his wife was kidnapped and 10 kilograms of explosives were tied to his body. Immediately after receiving another text message, it was only at this 15-minute that Xiaoyan realized that the game was far from over. He has no choice but to continue. Then he received another message. The reporters at the scene were about to disperse, but he saw that the young and middle-aged man had taken off his pants in public. He took out a bomb from under the podium and put it on himself. As messages are sent out one by one, young people can only follow the arrangements of mysterious people. More and more reporters were watching, and the young man ignored the gaze of others. He found the next question in the trash can, and the journalist and his wife could only choose one. The reporters who followed were not sure what had happened when they were scared by the suddenly lit pistol and hurriedly retreated. However, just as he was struggling with who to hit, he didn't expect the pistol to suddenly move and hit Tianyu in the crowd. But during the unexplained time of Xiaoyan, he quickly ran towards the car that had already been prepared, following the navigation set by the mysterious person for him. However, when he got off the car, he didn't expect to see Zhuang Yi instead. He thought Zhuang Yi was the mastermind behind the scenes, but he didn't expect his phone to receive a message again, so he chose to leave with Zhuang Yi or reveal the safe password. He typed the password without hesitation, but just then, a black sedan rushed out. At a critical moment, Zhuang Yi pushed away Xiao Ku, but he was hit and flew out. And what slowly descended from the sedan was Tang Wanyuan. He dragged Xiaoyan to the front of the car and ordered him to open the door of the vault, but he didn't notice that he picked up a gold brick casually. Just as he was obsessed with the scenery in front of him, he was ambushed by Xiaoyan from behind and knocked unconscious. He hurriedly ran towards the rooftop and finally saw his kidnapped wife, but he was firmly locked in a chain and couldn't open it at all. At this moment, the TV next to him suddenly lit up, and the recording played on it was actually a conversation between him and his wife at the old house. The real culprit behind the scenes finally surfaced, and it was the journalist Tianyu who had been following him all along. And his real name is Zheng Yu, and Zheng Guanwen is his father. He told Zhong Xiaoyan that the bombs on both of them would explode at the same time as soon as the time was up, but if someone detonated the other one in advance, they wouldn't explode. The wires on both sides were on his shoulder straps, and time had already ended. At this time, Zhong Xiaoyan realized his mistake. For so many years, he has been blindly pursuing money, and he has even blinded his mind. He kissed his wife, reluctantly retreated, and then jumped down. At the moment when the timer was about to end, he detonated the bomb on his body. Tang Wanyuan was also sentenced to death for murder, and Zhong Xiaoyan was sentenced to life for charges such as manipulating stock prices and money laundering. Originally, when he pulled down the lead, a parachute popped out of his backpack, and all of this was designed by Zheng Yu. Since Zhong Xiaoyan chose to bear the blame with death, he also chose to forgive. After all, it was his father who committed the crime first.